Good morning, everyone. My name's Laura Stranks and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Thanks for joining me today. Just a couple of things before I start. My Facebook page is called Cards by Laura. There's lots of ideas in there that you can follow along and have a look at my creations that I do at my classes and workshops. I've got a large Facebook group called Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials. That group's not exclusive to Stampin' Up. It's lots of different crafty ideas in there from all my members. We've got 21,000 odd members in there. Not all of them are active in the group. I wish a few more were, but that's up to them what they do. Some of them just like to have a look at what's in there. In there you will find a files tab. It's called it houses all my PDFs and tutorials for my cards and anything else that I do. So you've got instructions there to follow along. I do a live on a Saturday morning, which I then upload to YouTube as well, and the PDF for that is in the files tab there. In the featured tab is lots of ideas, notes and things that are important about the group. So you need to pop in there and have a look. If you wish to join the group, there are two questions you need to answer. One is why you wish to join, and the other is that you agree to the rules. Just be sure that you answer those two questions. If you don't see the questions on the device you're on, try joining through a different device. If you're on your phone, try your laptop or PC. If you don't answer the questions, you will be rejected. I will send you a little notification back to say that you haven't answered the questions. And if you're watching for the first time today, my YouTube channel is called Creative Gems. If you haven't watched before, and I'd love you to subscribe if you like what I do. That is all the business side of it, and we shall get going on today's card. It may take a little bit longer today because there's quite a bit involved. It's mainly the flower part of this. It's called an envelope card box. The box itself is quite easy to do. I've got a PDF here that I'm going to upload to my Facebook page, my Facebook group, and you can find all the instructions and photos in there of how to do it. The measurements will be in the description box of today's video. So if you've got the measurements, you can always just follow along with the video to watch, to see how to put it together. So we'll put that aside and we shall start with the pieces. You can take a screenshot of this, but as I said, it'll be in the description box of today's video. We have the pieces. I'll just go through them with you really quickly. We've got our box back, which is 7 by 5 inches, and I'll show you there's a little bit of cutting on that one. The box bottom is 7 by 4, which is that one there, and we've got some marking and some scoring to do on that one. Two box sides, which are 3.5 by 3.5. There'll be scoring and cutting on those. And the crossbar, which is 6 inches by 1 inch. You can't see the crossbar. It's down in the bottom there, which holds my piece of acetate up. So it's not sitting, it's floating in the box. So that's that piece there. And I've done two little hinges down here, 1.5 by 1. I'll show you how they work in a minute. It was just to hold this, because it was flopping backwards and forwards this way. I've put a little hinge down in there that you can attach, so it stops it from doing that. And I did two of those, and the acetate is 4.5 by 4.5. The DSP for the back, which is my flowery piece, because there'll be flowers in front of it, I've chosen the Thankful Garden, and I'm not sure what the DSP is called, but it goes with the Thankful Garden bundle. That's that piece. That piece was 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then we've got the pieces for the bottom. This one I've chosen a back side of one of the DSPs. It's 4 3/4 by 2 1/4. There will all be bits of cutting done on these. And then the DSP for the sides, you'll need two 3 1/4 by 1 3/4. There's 2 of those. And then I've done the hinge, the white writing panel at the back. I've die cut this one with the, what they're called, I use it a lot, Textured Notes dies, new frame dies that we've got out at the moment. 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. Very nice dies in that set if you're interested in getting that one. And then some scrap cardstock for my flowers and some embellishments. So take a screenshot if you wish, and you can follow along with the video and do the pieces, and we shall get started. So I've got my instructions here so I don't make any mistakes, and I've already marked some of these so we don't we know what we're doing. So you'll need your box back first, and with the short side at the top this way, we're going to mark halfway, and it's 5 inches wide, so at 2.5 inches you need to put a little pencil mark there. Rotate it anti-clockwise, which is that way, and we're going to mark it at 2.5 there and there, just in the track where the 2.5, this left edge here is on 2.5, and then a pencil mark at the 2.5. Now we're going to cut, I'll move that down so I'm in view, cut from the pencil mark to the pencil mark on the side, from the top to the side on an angle. Just putting that in the track, take that piece off, and the same on the other side, in the track there and over here in the track. Just making sure it's exactly in the track so it gives you a nice point at the top there, like so. So that's the back of the base of the box. Easy enough to do. I'll just rub out those couple of pencil marks so we don't have them showing later. That's that piece. Now the box bottom, we've done all that. All my PDFs have got photos on them, so you've got the instructions here. That's the box back, and then we have the bottom and the sides here. So if you get lost in the description up here, it's all typed in up here. If you get lost, just have a look at the photo. There's lots of photos there that will help you along. We'll put that aside. We'll go to the next one. With the long side at the top, we're going to score at 1 inch, which is there, and then 6 inches over here, or you could rotate and do 1 and 1. It's an inch on either end, and then move back across to the left, so your left edge is over this side at the 3.5 inch mark, which is half of the 7 at the top there, and you're just going to put a little pencil mark there at the 3.5 inch mark. That's that one. Rotate 90 degrees clockwise this time, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch, which is there. Keep that cutter out of the road so we don't cut, and 1.5 inches, which is there. Move across to the 2.5 and cut into the score line on the top and bottom. So we're going to put this left edge on 2.5, and we're going to cut from there into that first score line, and from this score line here out. But I'm going to start, I'm going to stand up here. I'm going to start on the score line because I find it easier that if I come down here and I go too far, you've cut in past the score line. So I always place, holding this arm up, place your cut, and it doesn't matter if it's a little bit short because you can always snip it with your scissors. Place that little groove piece there on the score line and go up. Lift your blade up, come down here to the 1 inch score line, which is there. It's hard to see on this blue, and cut down. So that's the 2 cuts in there. Then I've already marked pencil marks there to cut, so we'll rub those out, and we'll leave that one for a sec. Now this is where you need to cut from this top pencil mark here over to that cut line there, and I found it was easier to fold these two flaps under so I can get this into the track. If you leave them out here, you end up cutting into this piece. Not that it matters, it's going to get cut off anyway, but I found if I tip that underneath, put your track in that pencil mark at the center there, and then this one down here into that V section there where we just cut. We'll just keep moving that around until we get it in the right spot, about there, and then cut that whole piece off. Got a little bit showing there, that's all right, we can snip that. So it ends up like that at the top, and then you're going to do the same on this side. I'll turn it around because it's easier to line up. So I'm putting that V section there, I've folded that under, put that V section in the track, and then this up here too in the track as well, that center pencil mark, and we'll cut that off as well. That's those two bits gone, and that's how it should look for so far. There's still a little bit more. We can rub out those pencil marks, and this bit is done freehand. I'll just put that aside for a minute. So you need to, there's 3 tabs down each side. You need to remove the top and the bottom one. So I'm going to cut in on that score line and remove that. Take it out completely, and then cut in on this score line. And I'm not notching these either. I found it sat quite nicely. If it does catch, we'll notch it after, but I found it didn't need notching. So you'll end up with a little tab like that. And the same on this side. We'll cut in there to the score line, remove that bottom piece, and again cut into the score line and remove the top piece, like so. So you end up with little wings like that. So that's all on that piece for now. There's no more pencil marks there. I've got a little bit of fluff sticking. I'll just straighten that a little bit. So that's those two done. Now your side pieces, wherever over here, we'll just get these out. Now, sides, score at half. Now they're square at the moment, so it doesn't matter which side you pick. And you're going to score at 1/2 inch, which is there, and 1.5 inches, which is, I've got rubber all over my thing, 1.5. So 1/2 and 1.5. That's those two. We'll leave that there for a minute. So on the opposite side to the score line, so you'll need to rotate it. You're going to go a pencil mark, hang on, put a pencil mark at 1 3/4. No, we'll go this way, 1 3/4. So the pencil mark's coming up this end. I probably didn't explain that very well. Hang on, 1 3/4, 1 3/4, 1 3/4. No, we don't want that. Yes, we do. 1/2 and on the opposite side to the score lines. So there's my score lines. I think it should be 1.5. I'll just double check that. It says 1 3/4, but I think it should be 1.5. Just let me double check for a minute on my other sheet. These here, 1 3/4. So if we, oh, I know what we're doing, 1 3/4 this way. I've got those in the wrong spot. Should be 1 3/4. I hope I'm not telling you the wrong thing here. 1 3/4. One 3/4. I did it at 1.5, but it should be 1 3/4. I think that's not right there. We'll have a look. 1 3/4. Yes, there. 1 3/4. Let me look at my box. I did have template things done. Just double check again. Sorry to muck you around. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Mark both sides at 2 inches. We've done that. Oh, we've done this one. That's at 2 inches. Oh, I know what I'm doing. My PDF's wrong. This way, on the opposite. I don't know. Some days I just don't think properly. On the opposite side, so the score lines are down here. So up on this edge here is 1 3/4. I'm glad I didn't rub it out and cut it wrong. So up there, you're going to put a pencil mark. Sorry to muck you around. So your score lines are at the bottom now, and you're going to put a pencil mark at 1 3/4. Now we're on track. And then rotate clockwise 90 degrees. And then this is going on to 2 inches. Now we're right. And I rubbed that one out. But I know it's 2 inches. So there it's going at 2 inches on both sides. So your score lines are on your left side because you rotated clockwise from that top section. Rotate clockwise and mark at 2 inches. Now we'll do this one. This one's marked and we'll know what we're doing. So we're scoring at 1/2 inch. We'll do all this properly in one go. 1/2 inch and 1 1/2, which is there. And then on the opposite side to the score lines, so the score lines are at the bottom and your other pieces at the top, you're going to mark it at 1 3/4, which is there. Rotate 90 degrees clockwise and go at 2 inches, which is there, top and bottom there. So that's that. I was going to cut the two together, but I think I'll do them separate just to show you. Oh, we'll need that. We're going to cut these. So all you're doing with this one is cutting off these corners. So you've got the top pencil mark there in the track and the side one over here in the track. And we're going to cut that off. And this one off. I hope my instructions make sense, seeing I couldn't read them myself. You doubt yourself a lot. So that's that one. It looks like a smaller version of the big one that we did at the beginning, except it's got some score lines on it. And this one here, that in the track and that there in the track. And cut that off. And the same on this side in the tracks. So you'll have a little straight piece there down to the score line, which is what you need. So that's all those cut. And we can rub out all those pencil marks. If you're not sure, do all your pieces on some scrap, even if it's just white copy paper. Do them all first just to make sure you're right, so you're not wasting your good cardstock. That's those done. We've done all that. And then the crossbar, which is really easy, it's just 1/2 inch on both ends, scoring. So 1/2 inch there and 1/2 inch there. That just gives you a little tab to put it in with. Now we're finished with that. Oh, no, we haven't. We've got to cut out. We'll do all our BSP cutting. And I've marked these as well. So the back piece here, we've got, it is 4 1/2 inch. No, it's 4 3/4 wide. Yes, 4 3/4 wide. So we want it at 2 3/8 at the top, which is there. And might get a pencil. At 2 3/8, you just put a little pencil mark and then rotate. I'm just finding where I am. Rotate 90 degrees clockwise and down at 2 3/8, 7/8. No, that's not right. oh no, clockwise, yes. Where am I? I think I'm looking at the wrong one. The sides, oh, up here, 2 3/8. Side pencil mark is at 2 3/8. Oh, they're all 2 3/8. Mark the top and both sides with the pencil mark at 2 3/8. So I've done the 2 3/8 at the top, and go anti-clockwise. Yes, you'll have to go anti-clockwise. I'll just change my, oh, it doesn't say. So long as you're keeping all at the top at 2 3/8. And top and bottom. I've only done this card once, so maybe that's why I'm struggling with some of the things, but we'll get there. So I'm going from that top pencil mark to the side pencil mark and just cutting that off. And the same with this side, 2 3/8. At the side, cut from pencil mark to pencil mark. So that's our back piece. I'll just rub those pencil marks out. If you rub them out as you go, you know you're not going to miss any. So that's that one. Now the bottom, my acetate there, it is same length, 4 3/4. So at 2 3/8, you're going to mark a pencil mark at 2 3/8 there. Then rotate 90 degrees and put a pencil mark at 7/8, top and bottom. So that's 2 strokes before the one. At 7/8 you want a pencil mark there, and then you're just going to cut from that pencil mark to the top one, and that will give you your DSP for the front of the box, or the bottom of the box. I've called it the bottom. So that there and that there, and we'll cut that off. Rub out our pencil marks. Shows on that white piece. So that's the bottom, which is the front section here. That's that piece there. And then these little pieces, the sides, this is whatever length it was, but we're going to mark it at 1 5/8, and it was, I'll double check to make sure I don't tell you the wrong thing, 3 1/4. So at 1 5/8, you're going to put a little pencil mark just at the top, rotate clockwise, and put a pencil mark at 3/8, which is right over there. So you've only got that little tiny bit, 3/8 inch on top and bottom there. So 1 5/8 and 3/8, which is there. And then you're going to cut the exact same way from the side pencil mark to the top. We're getting there. Once you've got all these pieces prepped, although the flowers, I might not put all the flowers on today because it might take too long, but you'll get the idea of how to decorate. We'll get it started. And then I'll finish it off camera and then put a photo up for you. Rubbing out those, and there's 2 of those. So we went 1 5/8 at the top, 3/8 at the sides, rotating clockwise. And then we're going to cut from that there down to there, and the same on that side. Lots of fiddly bits, but it turns out a nice card. So we're finished with all that, and we're finished, I think, with our trimmer. pencil marks all gone. Right, now we can put some of these pieces straight onto the this one will go on here. We'll put all these on as we go. And I know one part of the box we need to put the flap up first before we put the DSP on, so that it covers it. It'll make sense when I get to it. So I'll just add that onto there. And as you can see, you've got the nice little 1/8 inch border all the way around. If you use your liquid glue, it you can move it around a little bit. I found it doesn't need the 1/8 inch border down the bottom here because you're not going to see it. Just trying to move that around a bit so it's more even. Get it straight, Laura. That's better. Yeah, down the bottom there, it's not quite the same width. And then we have this front piece here. We'll just fold and burnish these score lines. And they come in. And it's this piece here we need to put, and I'll pick that up. This will go on here, like so. I'll put the DSP on this front piece here. I think this is the one that's okay. If you haven't got time to finish watching the video today, you can always come back and watch it where you left off. It's a little bit longer today than normal. I don't normally do long videos. So that's that piece there. Now you need a piece of tear and tape along this tab on your front piece, the bottom piece. Just trying to find the end. And put that across there. And then you're going to lay this so that I found the easiest way to do it was pull that up like so, and then lay this along that score line like so. It's easier to line up when you can see it like that, and then press that down. So just line that bottom of that up. It's all nice and even along there and the sides. So it goes this way. Oh, I've done that wrong. We'll just take that up again. I've put it on the wrong side. Lucky we've got, silly me. We need it that way, but we need this way. Like so. We won't see that back bit. It's got to go that way. We'll do that bit again. I did ruin the little thing, but you won't see that. Should have looked at what I was doing then. I could see that was wrong. That'll cover with the white. Actually, I can put that on shortly. It was all totally back the front. So if you put it like so, make sure that is like that. So this will fold under and it'll go down along here. I'm going to pick this up and it'll go on this side. Just make sure you're putting it on the correct side. Like so. Because then when that comes up, you've got that. Now this piece here is the piece that I'll just fold and burnish these bits. These go in the sides. I can put the DSP on these. This one. And they sit like this in there, like so. Now these pieces we can put, just making sure I've got the right pieces, we can put those pieces on. One's that way and one's that way. I need this one and this one. I hope you're all concentrating hard what I'm doing. So they go sideways like so. Nice and even on there. And the other one, I'm trying to go a bit faster so you're not taking so long to watch. I should have my silicone mat out as well, which I normally do. So those two are fine. Now these, they will sit like so over the top of that. So if we put that down like so, we can put glue on there. So just lay that at the side so your score lines are nice and even. I'm going to use liquid glue on this. Normally I would use tear and tape. Just fold that tab down, put some glue on there, like so, and then open it back. This is where you may need to, if you haven't cut your score lines off, you may need to notch those, but I didn't notch them. So that goes like so. Oh, we need to let it dry a little bit before we pull it away. I'll do that again. Like so. Let it sit for a minute. And the same on this side. Just pull that up. If I'd have used tear and tape on this, it would have stuck straight away, but sometimes actually I'm going to just trim that little bit there because I can see my score line like so. Line that up so your score lines are parallel with each other. Move that across this fraction. Just trying to get it nice and straight. That's that. Now this here, that has to have a piece of tear and tape on those two. That probably should have gone underneath that, but you're not going to be able to see that anyway. That's got to come in up here. And you can put it on, you can put this in before you put that on if you wish, but you won't see in there. All the flowers are going to cover that. And I'm going to use tear and tape on these two along here. My scissors right next to me. And along there. Those side glue bits should have set by now. Give that a good press down. Take the back off those. I'll do the two, only because I might not be able to get my thing in there later. And then just line that up with the edge along there, like so. And give it a good press in there. And the same with this side. Line it up along there. So you could have put that DSP on last and you wouldn't see those, but you're not going to see them once all this is put together anyway. And I'm going to give that a burnish in there. And then this comes in under there like so. And then I'm going to put tear and tape on this, but not right to the point, because the point, you don't want to have tear and tape stuck up there. So I'm just going to do a piece down each end on the bottom end there. Start down here, probably about a bit over halfway. With the hips, it's going to hold it anyway. And the same on this side, making sure I got the right piece down the bottom. Just double check everything before you stick it down, because it's easy enough to make a mistake. Take the backs off those. I do like using tear and tape for boxes, a little bit more sturdy than just glue. And then pull this up so it's even there and stick it down there like so. That's your box done. Now this is a little bit, we probably could have put this in first, but I didn't find it a problem getting it in later. I'm going to put it in with some tear and tape because I don't want it, I think the glue won't set quick enough and you can't get your fingers in there to, we'll see how we go doing it this way. But it's up to you if you want to use liquid glue. I'll show you all my decorations in a minute. So that's going to sit in there. If you put your tabs like that and then just pop it down in there like so, and we'll pinch it in there. That. Tear and tape's easy enough to get back up, so long as you haven't pressed it firmly down in there. If you can still lift it a little bit. So I'm just popping this down in here, down to almost to the bottom. It's a little bit difficult. We probably could have done this beforehand. Excuse my head. I'm putting it to the back and a fair way to the bottom. So you've got a gap at the front. You probably can't see it in there, but I've got it to the back of the box, this side, level with the back, or almost, actually it's in the middle. I might move it to the back before we stick it right down. I've moved it to the back. So it's sort of in the middle there to hold your acetate. And I'm going to put a strip of strip of tear and tape on the bottom of this. Yeah, it was square. A strip of tear and tape down the bottom of that. You may find it a couple of different ways easier than maybe put this tear and tape on that that first piece. Actually, I'm going to turn that around and go this way and pop that down in there. I'll do some of my decorations later, I think. Now I've got that in there and I'm just pressing it down onto that hinge in there so it sits like that. And I probably could have decorated that first as well, but that's the general idea. I'll show you all my pieces, but we won't decorate this at the moment, and I will finish it off later. I coloured all of these. It's using the masks, the Thankful Garden decorative masks. Well worth getting. And I've done all of these flowers that I'm going to arrange onto that acetate. And I'm going to just stick them on with tear and tape just a strip of tear and tape at the back, like so. I shall arrange them later because it's going to be not pretty doing it while the acetate's in there. I should have done it before I put the acetate in. Just got a mixture of different coloured flowers, and they're all going in there, like so. We'll do all that later. I've got some leaves that I'm going to pop in as well. Where are we? I've cut lots of leaves. I've got a greeting to put on the front and a little butterfly. We'll do all this later because it's going to take me too long. I'm sure you don't want to sit. I'm going to put some leaves on the front as well. And I've got some flowers on the front as well. Just individual ones. The dies cut out the individual when you've coloured them. So that's sort of an idea of, I've got some more leaves there. We'll pop them in there. But I'll finish all that off after. So you're not having to sit and watch me do all that. I'm sure you'll know how to decorate. These will go if you put tear and tape on the little tabs either side and pop them in. One will sit to the back and one will sit on the back of the acetate, and that will hold them away, like it'll sit up. This is all going to fall down in, but it will sit up in here and it will hold that away from the back of the box. So it's got some stability, and I'm going to put one on each side. So see how you go. I'll finish the decoration later. See, that's not even in there yet. It hasn't stuck properly, but I'll fix all that. We can finish all that later with all those pieces. But that's what it'll look a bit different to this one, but that's how it works. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it was not too complicated for you. Give it a go, and I'll sit here and finish putting all the flowers on. And have a lovely week, and I shall catch you all again next Monday at 9 AM. Bye for now.